Welcome back to Cardinal Clips, and we're here to talk to Ray and Betty Hyser, who are our third and fourth inductees into the 2013 Cardinal Pride Hall of Fame. I think I've met the two of you before. Nice to see you again. And it sounds to me, Ray, like you had a long and storied career as a teacher.
In fact, if I were a superintendent, I'd never hire myself. I was in Jackson teaching 5th grade for 1 year. Then I came back to Minneapolis, which was home for me, and I was there for 4 or 5 years in 3 different grades. I came out here and I was at the junior high for 2 years teaching reading. Then I escaped and went back to elementary, where I stayed for the next about 30 years and finally retired.
So we were talking a little bit earlier. How many years ago did you retire?
18 years I've been retired.
And Betty, you're the youngster of the couple, is that right?
I'm only 27. No. I've been retired for 14 years, and I am somewhat younger than Ray, but he was in the military for 5 years, so by the time he got into teaching, some time had passed. So we met teaching my first year.
And what was it that you taught?
I always taught elementary, mostly 5th and 6th. I like 6th grade.
And the way it sounded to me from reading the information on the Cardinal Pride stories, that you spent a lot of time taking care of girls' locker rooms. Is that right?
I did. Well, when you have only male coaches and all female teams, it's a little difficult. There was a lot of the coaches opening the door and hollering in, "Is everybody decent in there?" so that they could come in and have a pregame talk. And I don't know, it just kind of happened. I don't really know why or how, but I loved it. It was fun. Made a lot of good friends.
So did you have kids who played athletics, or girls? Or do you have children?
We have no children. We have 3 or 4 or 5 or 600 other people's children, which is wonderful. We don't have to pay college bills.
That's not. I could trade.
Most people say, we'll give them to you, you can have them back. No.
So my understanding is, how many years did you function as the locker room monitor,
Mother or grandmother, yeah, depending on how you want to look at it. The older I got, the more it got to be a grandma instead of a mom. 21 years. And that was 21 years of friendships and wonderful times. Kids are great.
What do you remember the most about being involved with the athletic program?
Keeping the coaches in line. Somebody has to do that job. It's not an easy job.
Was it a full-time job, or things work out okay?
It was great. It was great. I think I missed, in those 21 years, I think I missed 2 games, both out of town. One, I was sicker than a dog, and we were playing Alexandria. I had to listen to it on the radio. That was the worst thing I've ever done. It's much easier being there, even if you lose, because we lost. And then a year where I couldn't make up my conferences. They had to be, I had to get those in. So
when you remember any of the kids with particular affection that you worked with?
I couldn't single any out, but there were lots of special kids. And it wasn't always the kids that scored the most points or got the most rebounds, but the ones where it was a family. And the basketball team and Ray and I and the coaches, we're a family. We've gotten to know we know Atch's mom really well, and his brothers and their families, and so it just gets to be that way. It's a great life, especially for people that don't have any kids to start with. It's wonderful.
I coached girls basketball for a couple of years, and I really needed that locker room mother, let me tell you. I'd have made a lot of mistakes without that locker room mother.
Every place we would go, people would say, "How much do you pay those people to do that?" And Atch would go, we don't pay them anything. How do you get them to do that? Well, you got to find people that are either crazy or willing, whichever.
And Ray, what were you?
What was I? I was basically the video man. I filmed all the games and then made a copy for the coaches. And at the end of the year, I'd put a highlight tape together, which the kids thought was fabulous because they never looked bad in these tapes. And other than that, I kind of did what she told me.
Well, that would be a good husband.
Yeah, yes, I was well trained.
So, Ray, that's a pretty unusual sweater. I don't think I've ever seen one of those here in Willmar. How'd you get that?
Our godchild, Emily, gave us matching sweaters sometime late in the 70s. She was playing ball herself at that time. And for whatever reason, we kept them. I barely can get into this, but it's still sort of fun.
Well, you look good tonight on the sidelines wearing your Cardinal sweaters, so.
Hey, if they look at the sweater, they don't look at the rest of me, so that's pretty good.
So, Ray, one of the things that was written is that Mr. and Mrs. Hyser have been a pillar supporting and promoting girls basketball. They've enriched all of our experiences as student athletes in ways beyond measure. What's it feel like when people say things like that about you?
It's humbling. It truly is. I think I even know who wrote that comment. It's amazing.
When you think back, did you do the filming for as many years, for 20 plus years too?
Yes, I did.
And what made you decide to do that?
Well, it was kind of an accident. We went to a lot of games prior to this, and I noticed that the boys' games were always being taped by Rich Brunner. And I asked Lynn Peterson, who was the girls' coach at that time, why they weren't doing the girls. And he said, well, we would if we could find somebody to do it. And I said, well, if you can find a camera, I'll try. He found a camera, and I tried. We went from there.
What was the most exciting game you ever saw and taped?
I don't know if there were so many that were absolute high points. Some of them early in this 21-year period, some of them near the end. To actually put my finger on one and say that was it, I don't know. I think I always felt, Betty probably would agree with this, that the most exciting games were winning the section. Getting down to the state was gravy.
I think my first or second year here, we went to the state tournament. And it was a lot of fun.
It certainly was that.
So when did you retire from doing the videoing?
I turned 70 in 2006, and I thought this is long enough. I was getting old. The bus rides we now included Bemidji and Brainerd or in Fergus Falls in our schedule. Those bus rides weren't a whole lot of fun all the time, so I thought it was time to stop.
Betty, as you look back, any regrets about spending 21 years doing it? Or?
We didn't only go to girls basketball. We're kind of famous, I guess, for girls basketball. That's what most people think we do. But there isn't a sport that we didn't go to, and probably many times, too. So you asked Ray about a game that meant a lot to him. There were some games that were so exciting, like beating Alexandria for the hated black Cardinals, for the right to go to state. That was a really fun deal. And then there were some sad times too, like when we lost to Hutch for the right to go to state. We had gone 26 wins in a row and lost that last one. And I'm telling you, I've never seen a sadder group of people. Coaches, kids. I thought their hearts were going to break. I thought mine was going to break. That was really a tough loss. But makes character, I guess that's what they say.
I've heard that. I think I read it on a bubblegum wrapper. Any of the athletes you still see?
Oh, lots of them. Some of them teach right here. Pat Breen is a former student and athlete that we watched, and Steph Slogter, and you almost had one last year with Lori Roofs Hansen. We got a letter from her this week, so that was nice to see. But just so many kids. I don't know how I could single out any particularly. We got a nice note from Terry Horan. I don't know if you'd remember him. He played back in the 80s here and is coaching at Concordia now. So it was nice to hear from him and wish us luck. And
he was former inductee in the Hall of Fame. So any suggestions the two of you would make, because you've been around kids for a long time, that you'd make to young parents relative to their kids playing athletics? Because I'll bet you've seen it all. So how about you, Ray?
We have seen probably all. We've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Most of it is good. And I would certainly encourage any parent who has a kid who wants to be involved to support them. And I think that's the biggest thing. If the parents support the kids, you get good results. It isn't necessarily winning or losing. It's that they're trying.
Betty, how about you?
Well, kind of in a way to keep your nose out of the game and out of the coaching. You may agree with it or don't agree with it, but you're not going to get anywhere by trying to tell the coaches how they should be doing things. And involving grandparents, aunts and uncles, making it a real family affair. Those are the people we remember the most. I remember when we won that game with Alexandria at St. John's, maybe we were playing that game. Emily Swearinga, who teaches now here, her grandpa and I got to be friends, and we went out and danced at half court. Because I said, if we win this game, you and I are going out to dance at half court. And he said, sure. So that's what we did. So, involving everybody.
Ray, Betty, thank you so much, and thank you so much for all that you've done for our athletes over the course of the years. It's an amazing record to spend that many years supporting athletics.
He has been a part of Willmar athletics for quite a while. They have filmed girls basketball for 21 years, varsity football for 8 years, and volleyball for 4 years. They have created so many yearly highlight videotapes. They have filmed approximately 200 weddings of Willmar High School students, athletes, and coaches. Attended several hundred Willmar High School student events. Had a great working relationship with many Cardinal coaches, parents, and fans. They are escorted tonight by board member Brad Atchison and athletes Jordan Martins and Kaylee Faso. Let's hear it for Ray and Betty Hyser.
Steve, they're performing right here.
We hope you enjoyed our show today as we talked to the inductees for the 2013 Cardinal Pride Hall of Fame. They were wonderful examples of the involvement of Willmar Senior High. And remember, future Cardinal Pride Hall of Famers are sitting in our classrooms today.
We would like to recognize by the bracelets on their right wrists, Kristen Foreman, Maddie Langland, Emma Rue, and Shelby Haynes. So please sit back and enjoy the performance as they again perform I Need Your Love.
Let's go, crowd! Go with the crowd! Yeah, you got this!
Get your